Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Mother Love Show. I hope that you all are having a great day. We're going to have some great information coming from the man himself. He is the fat loss coach. His name is Robert Ferguson, and he has started a food revolution. And yeah, he's a goofball. Yes, he is goofy. That's why we love you so much. It's good to have you with us. Are you driving? Don't be running into nothing while we're talking.
I promise you, I'm not. I'm actually going to a parking lot, and we're going to have a great conversation.
Okay, that's go because I got some questions. We got the standard American diet, and it is really really sad. Robert talks to us about being able to be diet free for life because and I know diets do not work. So now, what was the one thing I want to know? What was your biggest reason for keeping this going? Because you have turned this into your life mission. When did you know
Yeah.
that to be your mission?
Well, I'm the kind of person that when I get into something, I'm into it full time. Like, I don't know how to half do something. Does that make sense?
It makes sense because why waste time doing it? If you do it right the first time, you don't have to keep doing it over and over again. And
Right.
when you have a passion for something, it's like there's no stopping, and you want to know more, and I want to know more, and I want to know more. And that's how I am with you. I mean, because ever since we met, we've been, you've been at this, and and I just so appreciate your passion for this. Okay, now let's get to talking about some stuff that you done just just smack me across the face with all this misinformation that we are getting as consumers about the food supply. One of the things that I found out was that there is tell us what BOV is, because that one just kind of threw me like for a loop.
BOV.
BOV, the bromide and stuff that got, crackers and,
Oh,
yeah.
yeah. Well, I mean, we're living in a world right now where there's a major movement to make most of the food that we eat something that comes from a factory.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a big movement in replacing food, like eating chicken or turkey or lamb or like anything that, even fish,
Mm-hmm.
with lab grown meat and with like bioengineered foods. And there's way more money in it. There's a ton of people like Bill Gates that are buying a lot of companies, buying a lot of farmland. And they are just on this mission to make it where we're eating very ultra processed foods.
Chemicals. For the
Yes.
most part, we're eating chemicals, and a
Yeah.
lot of that stuff that's in it, our bodies can't tolerate. I didn't even, and they sell this in the store, monosodium glutamate, MSG,
Yeah.
and then
It's
it
still
was
out there.
a food enhancer, and they actually sold it completely with the monosodium glutamate accent. Remember accent? And
Oh, yeah.
put it on the food, and every time they would put it on the food when I was growing up, I would always get this really bad headache, and I would get really, really agitated, and we didn't know what it was, and they just kept saying, "Oh, she must be getting ready to start her period because she's acting all crazy," and I didn't realize until I became an adult that my system couldn't break it down. And actually, they found out that no human beings can really actually break down monosodium glutamate. And we saw that people were taking it out, and it was like a big push. No MSG in the food, no, especially the Chinese food, and it was just in everything. And if they found out that our bodies couldn't tolerate that, and
Yep.
when I saw the article that's on your website, Diet Free for Life, about the fact that we're eating this chemical that is been banned in over 100 countries, but they sticking it in our food. What's up with that part?
Well, I mean, when you leave the United States and you look at other countries, there's so many ingredients that are allowed in America, but they're not allowed in foreign countries. So we're just the last country to consider blocking anything. And we're at a place where most ingredients that we know are potentially harmful, they will continue to keep them in the food supply until someone sues them and and then it will get removed. But unless someone's going to sue them, meaning you need money, in addition to money,
you're gonna need an attorney.
You're gonna need attorney. You're gonna need time. I mean, that's a lot of work. So the likelihood for it changing, I don't see that happening anytime soon.
Really? I mean,
Yeah.
You would think when we get this kind of knowledge, we would make it applicable so we can keep us healthy. And I remember when we were growing up, we didn't have all these health issues that we have now. We didn't have kids that were allergic to peanuts or allergic to broccoli or this, that, and the third. One of the things I also want to talk to you about is this one through, and I can't eat it because I just can't eat. I mean, I love the taste of it. Peanut butter. My husband is the cookie monster. He is the cookie monster, and I beg for him so he doesn't have to eat all those chemicals when he's outside and he wants to get a cookie fix. And found out, and one of his favorites is peanut butter cookies. And I was using Jif peanut butter. And you put this article up there that said, tell them what the article said about Jif peanut butter. Now, we didn't make this up. We are just observing and reporting. I'm just saying.
There's a really cute commercial out with, what is his name? Ludacris.
I love that one. With the hair growing.
Yeah, it's a really cute commercial where he's doing a rap and, and everybody likes it, and it's real funny because we all know what it feels like to be eating peanut butter and trying to talk. Right?
And it's sticking to the roof of your mouth.
Yes. But all you got to do is look at the ingredients of Jif. And that's not peanuts. Like if you get Laura Scudder's, which is like the close to nature, you got maybe 2 ingredients. You got peanuts and maybe a little bit of salt. But if you look at Jif, you're getting seed oils, which we know causes inflammation in the body.
So we're talking about cottonseed oil and grapeseed oil and these kinds of things. Oh, I lost the feed. Okay, I hope you can come back. And I don't know what happened. Did you pull over? Can you pull over and stop? Because now we've lost the whole complete feed. Well, anyhow, while we're waiting for Robert to patch back in with us, one of the things that he was saying about peanut butter, especially Jif peanut butter, because when you look at the labels, the first label is what it has the most percentage of what that is. And I was looking at a jar of Skippy, and on their ingredient list, peanuts is the first thing that's listed. Well, then there are some other things in it that are not that great, but it's not as bad as what is in Jif. Because the first thing in peanuts is okay, we're back. Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Robert? You're just looking at me like you lost in space. Can you hear me?
Can you hear me okay?
Yeah, now I can. We lost the feed
can?
for a moment. Yeah, I can hear you fine. I was telling him about how one of the things that you were talking about with Jif, that and I was looking at a jar of Skippy peanut butter in my cabinet, and on the Skippy peanut butter jar, the first ingredient is peanuts. On Jif, tell them where the peanuts is on the Jif jar.
Okay, let me get my sound. So you can hear me. Give me a thumbs up. Okay, so you can hear me.
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
You can hear me, but I'm having a little challenge hearing you. So let me figure this out here.
Okay,
I'm here.
Lip read peanut butter.
We are live.
Can you still hear me? What are the last ingredient in a jar of Jif peanut butter? Okay. The last ingredient. Can you hear me?
So I'm gonna leave and come right back.
Okay. Well, while he's leaving and coming right back, one of the things that just really shocked me was on a jar of Jif peanut butter, the last ingredient is peanuts. Now, you would think that would be the first ingredient, right? No, it's the last ingredient. And that is just amazing to me. And we will put the food manufacturers and putting all these additives to preserve the food for a longer amount of time, that's why they call it fresh fruits and vegetables. Some stuff is not supposed to be preserved for weeks. I take that back, because I love my deep freezer. I don't like running out of stuff, and so I make sure my deep freezer, that has the as close to nature as I can have in there. Then when I found out that this BOV is in so many of our foods, and even in the fish, even in lamb, even in beef, and all kinds of stuff, I found out that it's one of the ingredients in Ritz crackers. My favorite cracker. It's in that. And it is in so many of our foods. And that's why I believe it's important for us to become avid label readers and, make a decision about how you want to treat your body, what kind of fuel you put in it. We'll dump all kind of garbage into our system, and even whatever it is, we will eat too much sugar. And I don't know if you know this. I found this out, that refined sugar in the United States, I don't know what it is at other places, but refined sugar, the pundit, the experts say that refined sugar is 10 times more addicting than cocaine. Now, that one kind of blew me away, because when you look at all the first ingredients in a lot of our foods is high fructose corn syrup. Then you'll go down, you'll see molasses, and then you'll see something that you can't even pronounce. I'm college educated, and I had to get to this point when I was changing my lifestyle. If I can't pronounce it on the label, I'm not putting it in my body. And I'm still a very avid label reader, because they take some things out when people start raising sand, and they put some other stuff in that we still can't pronounce, and our body still cannot digest a lot of most of these chemicals. That's like we're saying, prefabricated food. And that's what it is, prefabricated food. Don't get me wrong, I know people swear by this, and this was one of the first food stuffs that I didn't. It was Cheese Whiz, cheese in a can, and that right there should have made you want to learn something about cheese in a can. Oh, there you are. At least we can see your face. Can you hear me now? Can you see me? Can you hear me? I can't hear you. Now I can't hear you. See, I told you driving was going to be a problem. Talk. Can you hear me out? Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I told you driving with. See, this is why these people. That's why people like him are my friends, and I love them. I said, don't drive. What is he doing? Drive. And if you're running or something, I am not paying your insurance premium.
That's right.
Not your insurance. Your insurance. That what the old people say. I ain't paying your insurance. So anyway, back to the peanut butter story, and the crap that in the fact that Jif peanut butter, the last ingredient, he goes again. I don't know what's going on with Robert. Come on, where are you, hon? Let me see your face. Oh no, he's completely gone. I'm still gonna go. What I want to find out too is about maybe it keep going down. I can't see you. About the peanut butter. And then there's another issue about milk, especially cow milk. For me, this is for my own personal life. I'm lactose intolerant. Most of my family members are lactose intolerant. Most people of color are lactose intolerant. And if you ever think, and you know that you can't tolerate it when you go eat some ice cream and then feel like then you get bubble gut. And you can't move, and your stomach is cramping fiercely. Same thing with cheese. And I love cheese. I do love soy cheese, though. I have a tendency to put it on a bunch of stuff. And I modify, and I do my substitutes and what have you. And when I found out, I kept saying, why every time I eat ice cream, or drink milk, and I like the taste of milk. It just doesn't like me. Didn't like my system. I get really, really bad. And I have to be mindful when I go out to eat or when I eat at other people's houses, because I don't know if they're putting milk in it. I don't know if it's lactose free. I have to be mindful of that. So when I'm going out, I keep this, a bottle of Dairy Ease with me. It puts the enzyme back in your body to help you digest lactose. And mine is more of a precautionary tale because I don't know what people are putting in their food. That's why I don't eat at a lot of different people's houses. And I'm real particular about what restaurants I go to. I need them to be, friendly and be willing to at least allow me to modify so that I can enjoy a meal in a restaurant. And I just saw it and put my earrings in. Okay, like that's a big deal. But nonetheless, we have to be mindful of what we're putting into our bodies. We need to become avid label readers. We need to understand that food is for living. I used to say, I live to eat. Now I eat to live. And one of the things that Robert talks about and has written about is food as medicine. And I'm hoping that we can get him back on here if he pulled over someplace. Pull over! Because this is some really great information that he has for us. And so when I found out that I was dairy intolerant, I was, oh man. And when I quit another thing, when I quit eating beef, I didn't realize that there were a lot of beef products and certain things. I didn't know that Jell-O, it's always room for Jell-O. I don't know what they're doing, making it out of now, but old-fashioned Jell-O from when I was growing up was made out of the gel and bovine hooves. Cows and horses and pigs, they would get, all the gelatin out of their pieces parts when they were in the slaughterhouses, and they would make Jell-O. And I found out that Jell-O was made from a beef product. Bovine products, the hooves in particular. And I had to give up Jell-O and Oreo cookies. I love Oreo cookies, but I had to give it up. And I gave it up because I didn't want that in my body, and my body was not tolerating. Could not tolerate digesting beef, and it just became so hard. And then I found out. You can Google this. I'm not making it up, babies. You can Google this. They say that the average meat eater in the United States has 3 to 4 pounds of undigested dead flesh in their system when they die. 3 to 4 pounds of undigested. Can you imagine that kind of stuff blocking up your system and you don't know what to do? That's why laxatives are a big money maker. I mean, stop and think about it. Sometimes I wonder, is it a conspiracy? Is this a conspiracy where the Food and Drug Administration, the farmers, the investors, when Robert was talking about, Bill Gates buying up all this farmland, and they're not just buying it up to make artificial food. They're also buying up a lot of land to plant pot since it's now legal in most states. And they buying up all the land. They're trying to buy up everything in Ohio that they could possibly get so they can build these massive greenhouses. And I'm wondering if they're doing the same thing. I would venture to say that the creators of this artificial foods are making sure that the medical profession stays afloat, stays more than afloat. Because you think about, if you stop eating this or you start eating this, there's going to be some kind of adverse situation going on with your health. And now we hear this all the time about your gut health. Everything they say that starts with, and one of the ancient physicians said that every problem that man has with their health starts in the gut. Because what you put in, and it goes through all of these channels, and you oftentimes, oh, there's Robert. Why every time I touch on your face, you leave me? Anyway, anywho, what was I telling you? About making sure that, with all of this stuff, I think is a conspiracy, because when you think about it, okay, if we know, or they knew, or they know still, and there's still some food that got monosodium glutamate in it, and I have to be real mindful, especially processed foods and canned foods, and you look at the label so that you know what's going on, and you know what you're putting in your body. And when you think about, we got 1,100 feet of intestines, and have to go through all that, and it could still be clogging up your body, still clogging up your arteries, still clogging up where you can't, avoid when you're supposed to. I was understood that it meant, eat 3 times a day, you should go 3 times a day, and some of us go a little more often than 3 times a day. And we still don't, or we're sitting there with kidney stones or blocked up, our gut has backed up and blocked up. I had an intestinal blockage one time. And I'm telling you, I would not wish that off on my worst enemy. Not like I would have a worst enemy, but I would not wish that off on anybody. I mean, I kept feeling sick. I kept saying, I'm having a heart. Am I just telling y'all there's way too much information? But listen, I'm sharing this because it could happen to you if you're not paying attention. It could happen to someone that you love if you don't not paying attention. And I was in such agony for I'm gonna say a good 4 or 5 days, and I could feel my system starting to back up, and my breath smelled funny, and my skin smelled funny, and it seemed like I couldn't sweat, and it was like it was all like clogged up in me to the point I was on the floor crawling, and I couldn't even sleep with my husband because I was in so much pain. And so one day I woke up and I could not move, and he said, I said, I gotta call this with this is not right. Are you there with me? Can you hear me, Robert?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I can hear you well. So I told you, one day y'all gonna listen to me.
All right. Hey, you know what? You're right. Lesson learned. I thought it would be cool to take you on a ride when I had to go to McDonald's and get a burger.
Wait, no, you did not. You eat fast food?
I sure do.
Oh, now how does that work with the Diet Free for Life plan that you can eat fast food? Because
because look, McDonald's, for instance, is like the big monster, right? That everybody talks about. Mm-hmm. And here's the reality: they don't want to go out of business. They can't afford for you to eat their burger and get salmonella. Mm-hmm. They can't afford for you to get E. coli. Mm-hmm. They cannot. So they have third parties involved. Their food is nowhere near as unhealthy as people think.
Really?
Yes. The challenge with McDonald's and a lot of these places sometimes is that people will compound their food. So, for instance, I had a quarter pounder, and that was my meal for lunch. Mm-hmm. I didn't have a quarter pounder with fries and a shake.
Just a sandwich.
Just a sandwich, and I'm good. Mm-hmm. So, so a lot of it comes down to like, are you overindulging? Whether it's McDonald's, Wendy's, Burger King, Applebee's, if you're going to a restaurant and you're eating the foods where it's too many carbs at one time, mm-hmm. then you're going to run into problems.
So what is the balance? Because I understand that there are good carbs and bad carbs, and people have a problem trying to understand what does that mean and what does that mean for their health.
Well, one, for those who believe in God, I would say that all things God made is good.
Oh, right, that's right. Well, all of it is made is good. It's good for you, but some of it you shouldn't be touching and eating.
Well, so for instance, let's look at potatoes.
Okay.
You can go anywhere in the world and you'll find potatoes. Mm-hmm. And where they have the least amount of diabetes, which is some countries in Africa, mm-hmm. they eat potatoes every day.
But they told us that was not good for us.
Well, that's what I'm saying. There's so much misinformation. You know, if you go to like where they have hunter-gatherers that are still out there, they're eating like tubers, potatoes, fruit. 70-80% of their food intake is carbohydrates, and nobody has diabetes.
And most of them are not overweight.
No, like none of them are.
And what people don't understand, and I learned this the hard way, that your body can only stand so much. And eventually, if you are not taking care of your body, taking care of your temple, that it will backfire on you. And we have a tendency to ignore the symptoms, ignore the fact that now when I get up, I get dizzy if I stand up, or why are my feet swelling up, or how come I'm not sleeping well? And because we're not taking care of ourselves during the daytime. And people think, I had a really bad habit. I used to work on the radio at night. My shift was from 9 p.m. to 1 a.m. And so I'm coming home, from the radio station, stopping at the fast food restaurants, eating, getting something to eat before I go to bed, and come figure out why I was having these horrific nightmares. And the doctor said it's because when you go to bed, your body is supposed to be preparing, replenishing and rejuvenating. Now you ate in the middle of the night. Now your body got to take all that energy and help you digest that food. That's why you're having all the nightmares. When I stopped eating late at night, nightmares went away. Just something like that, because we don't pay attention. And I just mentioned it to him, cavalierly, I'm eating, and, he was like, Mother Love, so when do you eat? Do you eat before you go to the radio station? I go, yeah. And I eat when I come home from the radio station. He's like, your body is not made like that. That's the very reason why living creatures must go dormant.
Right, but what were you eating late at night? Give us an example of
I would go listen, and I would go eat French fries, and I didn't eat meat. I haven't eaten meat in, my son is 40 something. I haven't eaten meat in over 42, 43 years. Haven't had. And I quit eating pork for about 25 years ago. And so I'm like, but listen, if it's swam, I'm eating it. If I could deep fry it, I could eat deep fried French fries and fish and coleslaw and all this other stuff. And I'm thinking, it's coleslaw, it's cabbage. I'm not eating a lot, even though I would clean my plate off. I lost you again. And that was my problem. And when I found out that the time that I was eating, and I would wait till, and a lot of people do this, especially people that work in the daytime. You get up and, shower, shampoo, and shine, you get ready to go to work and everything. Now you figure like, I don't have time for breakfast. It's too much. I get too busy. I'll eat later on. And then when later on goes from, if you're leaving the house at 7:30, then later on comes at 9, and you go, I can wait. Then by the time 11:30 in the morning comes, your blood sugar is going down. Whether you have diabetes or not, your body needs to be fed fuel, and the proper fuel, and food is our fuel. He was talking about the people over in Africa and all these other countries that have banned these additives and and derivatives and ingredients from their processed food, and the fact that there are not a lot of diabetes, not like it is here in the United States. I mean, they're talking about there are 89 million Americans who are now pre-diabetes. 89 million. Now you think, if you get $1 from each one of those 89 million, and you're a pharmaceutical company, or you're a hospital, or you're a medical group, why would you cut off your money? If I could keep running stuff up, up telling you, this will be good for you, don't worry about it. Okay, well, you eat this and your cholesterol will go up, and then we'll give you a cholesterol pill. And you need to know what your good cholesterol is and your bad cholesterol. And you said, Rob, this is another one. See, you blow my mind on so many things about food. You said that the statins and the cholesterol drugs that they give us to lower our cholesterol level up is not cholesterol. I can't. Okay. I'm not. We're gonna keep going, because this is important information to get. Do I have you? Can you hear me, Robert? Robert, can you hear me? Oh, can you hear me, Robert? Okay. He cannot hear. Maybe it's a good thing he can't hear me, because my singing is left up. Okay, so you're not talking anymore. Let me see. Oh shoot! I don't know what the deal is. It keeps going off. It's coming on. He's stationed. We're gonna get this. This is a whole new thing for us, and we're gonna get it. So can you hear me now? Because I want to talk to you. Can you hear me, Robert? Because see, this is stuff that I don't know. And that's why I want to talk to the experts about how we need to utilize a food as fuel and food as medicine. Food as medicine. So, and a lot of stuff, is good for us and we don't want to eat it. I found out that as a person who's managing type 2 diabetes, that there are certain foods and fruits and vegetables that we can eat to help us maintain a good blood sugar level, maintain a good A1C level. I just had my A1C done a few weeks ago, and I'm back down where I'm supposed to be. I was at a 5. I'm at 5.9, and I had got up, and in the deepest one, I must have been I don't know, maybe I must have been like a in the 8 range. And she was saying, "Oh, we can really help you learn to manage your diabetes." Because you're not out of hand. And I was like, well, isn't 8 a lot more than 5? And she said, Mother Love, I've had patients come in and their A1C is 15. They had one guy, his blood sugar was so through the roof, they sent the ambulance to come and get him, to take him to the hospital. He was on the verge of having a massive stroke. And diabetes can cause so many other ailments to go wrong with you. I mean, it affects everything from your hair all the way down to your toenails. And so that's why we really have to be mindful. And people always say, oh, Mother Love, you and Brother, you guys eat so healthy or so clean. I just learned to tell them it wasn't. I don't tell them it's healthy anymore because they don't believe me. So, okay, that's what help you sleep at night. Okay, that's fine. We have to be mindful because I know, like Robert said, food for fuel, food as medicine, and everything that we can digest that we were meant to eat to have to nourish our bodies, we can pull off a tree, pull out the ground, pull off a vine, pull it out the water, rinse it off, and be good to go. We'd be good to go. But we want to add so many other things to it, sugar and flour and egg. Robert, can you hear me? I got so many questions. Oh my God, we are going to have to do this again. We're gonna have to do it over because we're missing a lot of information. Are you still with? Oh, he on here like 11 times. Okay. All right. Oh, now I got you in duo. Can you hear me? I can't hear you. I can't see you moving. Nothing is going on. So it's a good thing he's a good looking guy, right? And to continue with the conversation, food as medicine. They always say, chicken soup is good for the soul. You get a cold, some homemade chicken soup. People have said to me, Mother Love, I don't know if you know this, but your chicken soup is special because when you bring me soup and I eat the soup, I always feel better. And then, well, what do you put in it? I put love in it. I put love in it. I would not feed you anything that I would not want to feed my family. And oh, they fight me tooth and nail. Don't get me wrong. Oh, Lord, I done been called everything but a child of God. Told, don't you come in here with that twig sprig eating stuff. We gonna eat what we eat, what we've been eating. And I'm like, and you're gonna keep getting sicker and sicker and sicker. And when you don't, people don't die from diabetes. Like people don't really die from AIDS. We die from the complications of these conditions. We die from the complications of these diseases. You don't die from diabetes. We die from diabetes-induced heart attacks because it weakens your heart. We die from strokes. We die from cancer. We die from, all kind of stuff that we can eliminate. Yes, of course, I know. We're not gonna live forever. I am trying to live forever. I want people to be talking about Mother Love 500 years from now.
All right, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. Can you hear
All
me?
right, I am back. Sorry about that. We had
Okay.
every technical difficulty, but I know there's a lot to talk about.
It's a
So,
lot to talk about. I'll just I have no problem repeating to get this information. I mean, we found out about the bromide that's in all kind of foods. We know that Jif peanut butter, the last ingredient on the list for peanut butter is peanuts. Since then, I just want you to know I'm spent. I'm done. Now I want to talk about milk. What is it about milk that we need to know and that we're
wow.
not?
Well, that's a good one because so when you were a kid, you drank whole milk, didn't you?
Yes.
And I did too.
Mhm.
I remember the day that my mom replaced whole milk with skim milk. And I remember drinking it going, what is this? Because it tastes like water.
It tastes like water.
I mean, it did. I mean, do you remember that going from whole milk to like reduced fat, skim milk?
2%, and see, in whole milk you can't see through. Skim milk you can see through the glass, and that's what I'm like. I don't think we should be drinking this water like that. You know.
Well, think about it. So why is it that we went from whole milk to skim milk?
That's why that's the question I'm asking you.
Well, it was all part of that whole moment when they started to demonize saturated fat.
Ah.
Remember, everything was about take the fat out because fat is the problem. So everybody went from whole milk to reduced fat milk. Everybody, you buy crackers that said low fat crackers. Everything was low fat, reduced fat, get away from the fat. Well, whole milk is less processed than skim milk. And you know the importance of insulin, right? So insulin is a major driver for most metabolic health conditions like heart disease, PCOS, high blood pressure, right? So elevated levels of insulin. So the more insulin you have circulating in your body, the more likely you'll be in poorer health. Well, knowing that, if you compare whole milk to skim milk produces 300% more insulin than whole milk.
Now, see, I know that just probably knocked people out of their socks to hear that. You know, see, and I'm dairy intolerant, so my milk intake is like slim to none. And I miss drinking milk. Don't get me wrong, I missed it. But then I realized after our son was born, and I nursed him, and he never drank. He did not drink cow milk until he was 5 years old. And I took him up to visit my family and left him with them. Oh, they tried to, your mom and daddy, I don't know what they doing with your food. You gonna drink milk, you gonna eat cereal, we gonna fry liver, we gonna eat everything that your parents don't let you eat. And I'm like, so I had to start his food journey all over again because he started getting sick off of that. And he had never drank coffee before. And they said, oh, yeah, he'll be all right. He was like, and now he's fine. You know, now he's fine. So we have to be, and I found this out too. Most people of color are dairy intolerant. Italians are dairy intolerant. Africans are dairy intolerant. But we want to keep eating. Like we put sugar in everything. You know.
Right. Well, I think about 70% of Black folks in America are lactose intolerant. A little right under that, your Latin community, lactose intolerant. Asians are closer to about 90% are lactose intolerant.
That's something I've never seen milk in a Chinese food restaurant.
Yeah, they're not drinking a lot of milk. And when they do have milk in the dishes, it'll be coconut milk.
Yes.
Right?
It won't be my thing is, people milk is for baby people. Cow milk is for baby cows. I don't think cow milk should have been for baby people. That's just my thing. And I thought and I never fed him formula. You know, that you put it in a can and, shake it up in I never fed him that. I was able to pump. So he always had, fresh breast milk, and I breastfed him till he grew teeth and he bit me. I was like, oh, you better go buy something else. This is not going to happen. I thought I was going to die. Oh my God. You talking about somebody clamping down on your breast and they doing this stuff. They trying to get full. Oh, that's why women are 110. That's why.
Well,
that's why I want food every day.
But going back to the milk, right? So why is it that skim milk will cause more insulin to be floating around in your body than whole milk?
Because you said it's 300 times more processed than.
Well, when you drink skim milk, you produce 300% more insulin. Now, none of that will make any sense if a person doesn't understand that you don't want to have that much insulin floating around in your body.
Because that's where it becomes ill managed. You know, all of our body parts work together. I don't understand why people think, oh, well, that's my arm. I ain't got to worry about my arm over here, like it's not attached to the rest of your body or whatever it is. You know, people, when they lose their limbs, I remember when several of my relatives uh, had lost limbs because of the complications of diabetes. And they just would not change their eating habits, would not change. Would I mean just I would rather lose my legs than what and be able to eat cookies and cakes and pie. I'll be all right. They got a wheelchair for me and they can justify this. And I was like, no, I can make a smarter choice. I can make a smarter division, smarter decision, and a smarter division. Now let's talk about, because this is really critical, food as medicine. And I
Yeah.
would say that the food that God meant for us to eat, you could pull it out the ground, pull it off a vine, pull it off a tree, and go in the ocean and get it. We could eat fish raw, sushi. And I like raw fish. I make really good sashimi. No, what it's not sashimi. I make really good lox, though. Really good lox. Uh, and so, talk about food as medicine and how important that is, because you said it's what you eat and in the combination of what you eat. We have a tendency to overload on carbs, but you say carbs. Some carbs are not bad.
No, a lot of carbs aren't bad. Most of them aren't bad. It's the things that are manufactured in a factory are probably bad, like jelly beans, uh, big chunk candy bars. I mean, you see what I mean? Like, the further it is away from nature, the worse it's going to be on our health.
That's a good rule of thumb. That is a great rule of thumb. And when you say the further away from nature, that's when you're talking about becoming that avid label reader and reading what the ingredients are. My mantra is, if I can't pronounce it, I'm not eating it. I mean,
Right.
I'm not. I don't know what a diglycerol, triglyceride, the diarrhea, pyrite, and all the other ides. And we don't know what those combination of those additives and preservatives are doing together. What kind of molecular structure are they releasing in our system? Because we don't know what these things do and how they relate. You know,
Yep.
one of she's so sweet. She is a research scientist at the Keck School of Medicine, and her specialty, and a lot of them are working on uh, finding a way to make sure people can maintain, a good insulin level. And there's, like I said, she's in research. I was asking her one time because when I was growing up, we didn't have a lot of big fat people in our class and everything. And now you see some of these young people, they're so obese because they're eating so much junk. And I mean, I saw a young lady, I kid you not. I just wanted to walk over to her and just hug her and tell her, come on, baby, you gotta take better care of yourself. She could hardly stand up. She was so heavy. And she had a really tiny waistline. Now she got a really tiny waistline. And she got a butt this wide. And she said she had to get her clothes custom because she had a wide butt and a tiny waistline. Well, her butt had got to the point she looked like she had a shelf on the back, and it was causing her to lean over. So her posture was off. And we don't think that all of these things go together, but they do. They go in tandem. If you were plan, because now, can we all do the same kind of diet free for life, or are these plans individually set for how we are and what we eat in our lifestyle?
Well, I mean, it really comes down to just knowledge.
Mhm.
I mean, is that it? Mother love is that simple, and it just keeps getting moved over, right? So, like, for instance, and you've probably seen this study. It was a study done in China where they took chicken, rice, and broccoli,
Mhm.
and they had people eat it in different orders. Some people ate the chicken first, then they had the white rice, and then they had the broccoli. Some people started with the broccoli first, they ended with the rice. Some people started with the chicken, they ended with the rice, and they measured their blood sugar. And there was a significant difference for the people who, on their blood sugar, if you ate the white rice last, you had way better blood sugar compared to if you ate the white rice together or if you ate it before you ate the other foods.
Why is that though?
Well, one, protein is not going to cause your blood sugar, as you know, to be elevated because there's very little sugar in chicken, right? So if
Is
you
there any
had
sugar in
broccoli,
chicken?
yeah, broccoli, you got less sugar,
Mm-hmm.
but rice, you're going to have more.
Mm-hmm.
Potato, you're going to have more, right? So the foods that are higher in starch, you're going to tend to have more. But when you eat the foods in the order,
Mm-hmm.
if you eat the protein first, and I'm not telling people to do this, but if you did, the protein gets into your intestine, it starts breaking down, and by the time you eat the rice, it kind of works as a buffer to slow down how fast the rice becomes sugar in your blood. That's it.
Mm-hmm. That's pretty simple.
Yeah.
That's
So
that's
if I was a type 2 diabetic and I really wanted to have cake or pie as part of the meal,
mm-hmm.
I would eat my protein first, whatever that is, fish, chicken, whatever protein you eat. I would eat my little vegetables, whatever that is, spinach, collard greens, broccoli, asparagus, and then I would have my slice of cake.
You sound like my husband. He eat cake with his food. He'll put a piece of pie or a piece of cake on his plate with the food. And I'm like, I thought it's called dessert. He said, yes, dessert, but I'm having it with my meal. Whatever make you happy, baby, whatever you want. I just think that's just so crazy. He'll be eating fish and he'll eat a piece of cake. And just the those different tastes in my mouth just, oh no, not cake and fish. And they have no problem with it. And as you can see, my husband he is not overweight. He doesn't have diabetes. He's never smoked. He doesn't drink. His doctor pretty much can't stand him. Because he comes in and he goes, oh, it's you. My patient that's older than me and in better shape than me. And his doctor is like in his 40s. And he was like, he is in great shape, doesn't have high blood pressure, he doesn't take any medication. He might have little dings and ticks, there, here and there, but nothing major. He gets a physical every year. I make sure he eats well. I make sure he eats a balanced diet. One of the things that I don't allow at our table, you can either drink what you're gonna drink, your water, your juice, or whatever, before you eat 30 minutes. And I want to ask you about that as a nutritionist, and you know this stuff. They say if you're going to drink something before your meal, drink a glass of water 30 minutes before you eat the food, and then you eat less food. That's why you can't drink at the table. You either drink it before, you drink it after. I don't let them drink during the food, during the eating. And they've gotten used to it now. Now they don't bring drinks to the table. I'm talking about my grandkids and the other young kids that we're around. And so we have to teach them by example. You just can't say, oh, well, you got diabetes and I don't have to be concerned about that. You just have to, buck it up. And I was so honored and grateful when my family said, okay, we will support you in changing our food choice. And because I cook, what was they going to do? What was they going to do? They're not going to McDonald's every day. I remember my son said that one time. I wish we could just go to McDonald's. I said, oh, this was after I done prepared this meal. He said, I wish we could just go to McDonald's. I didn't cook for a week. They're like, we can't eat no more fast food. Right? Please, don't tell me you would rather eat that food than mine. And now they're pretty conscious about how they eat and what they're doing. And I'm just outdone. You said you had you said you ate a big steak. What is your take on these plant-based meats, the plant-based food, like the burger, Impossible Burger at Burger King? I didn't think I would like it. Have you tried it?
I've tried them all.
Mm-hmm.
You know what? There's not a lot of really negative studies on these plant-based foods, which is a good thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm still not 100% ready to just encourage people to eat them on a regular.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still kind of going through that, trying to figure it out.
I like it, and I like the fact that it tastes like, because we eat turkey and fish, and I eat chicken. And like I said, if it swims, I'm gonna eat it. Don't let me catch it, because they're gonna be in trouble trying to get me away from some fish. And I said I want to try just to see how what it's like, and I was really surprised. And then when I found it in the grocery store, one of our grandchildren is a vegan. And so when he said he's the one that turned me on to it, and he said, "Oh, you gotta try this, and just see if you like it." Oh, we done fell in love with him. We have fallen in love. I tell you, people, I would recommend it. And they make great hamburger. They make great meatloaf. They make great spaghetti. It's really very good. And if you didn't tell somebody that it was a plant-based a burger, a plant-based meat, they would know. And it's got a good flavor. And I like the fact that it holds up well with other spices, and it's always good to like mix up stuff, and I tried what I wanted to ask you about the Impossible Burger, and what's your take on the see, this what happened. I just had a and he just went away right in the middle of my brain. Okay, there he is. He's back. He's back from okay, there we are. Can you hear me now? Hello. Hello. We almost made it, Robert. We almost made it through this. Yeah, we did. We're getting there. And so I'm into now cooking from doing recipes from other nations. So now I'm in the Mediterranean. I'm learning how to cook Italian dishes and specialty dishes. And that's another thing that was kind of tripped me out about Europeans, especially in Paris, where they have wine with everything. They have wine, they have dessert, they do it everything, and they're not overweight. They have wine, they have their desserts, and they're not overweight. And one of the biggest reasons why we are so overweight in this country is because we don't exercise. And we've gotten so out of shape, it almost is, your knees are hurting, your ankles are hurting, your back hurting, you're in so much pain if you go out and walk. Well, if you get up, I found this out. When you get up and walk, you will start feeling better. I was dealing with, I was telling you about this bad intestinal blockage I had, and I thought I was going to die. I was in the I went from my doctor's office to the emergency room, and that night I had to have emergency surgery. And this is what he said to me, and this was from, a blockage. And he said, well, you got a lot of scar tissue in your lower intestine, and I might have to remove maybe 1 or 2 feet. Now, this came out of my mouth. Well, I have to wear a colostomy bag. He goes, okay, you went a little too far with that one, mother love. We're gonna see what we can do. And he said when he got in, it was a lot more scar tissue than that we thought it was, that he thought it was gonna be. And I said, well, what is this from? He said, it looked like it's from your cesarean section. I said, my son is 100 years old and now I got scar tissue problems from a cesarean section. You got to pay attention to your body. And thank God for Jesus, he did not have to remove any part of it. I healed very, very well, and I do just fine. I've always been a slow eater. And that's another thing too. Americans, we eat at rapid speed. I mean, I know people feel like you're short on time, but I don't understand that one because it's the way we do our calendars and our time. There are 24 hours in a day. So you got 24 hours. So you got to learn how to pace yourself, and you're spending, what they say, we spend a third of our lives in the bed sleep. Then you spend a third of it awake. And then the other third, we're supposed to be spending, doing what we like and making sure that we're staying healthy and being with our family and our friends. Okay, we don't do that. We got all kind of excuses why I don't want to go. I don't want to walk. I don't go to the gym. I mean, I know this is the reason why I don't go to the gym. People are sweating in there, and it smells like cheese and baby feet. And no, don't want to be in there. I don't know who been sweating on it. And then after the COVID-19 virus, when they shut down the gyms and they opened them back up, they disinfected everything. My husband used to disinfect the kids before they could even come in the door. And he would tell, your grandmother has a compromised immune system. You're not coming here bringing in microbes. Hold your hands up. They have to get sprayed down with whatever kind of spray he had. They had to wash their ass. They had to stay 6 feet away from me. I had to teach them how to hug me from the back. You learn a lot of stuff when we're put in situations like that. And I'm hoping, I'm praying that after we have gone through all of this with this pandemic, with people getting sick, with people dying unnecessarily for whatever all the crazy that has gone on between then and what's going on now. And now they're saying that they're seeing a surge in COVID-19 cases again, because we have stopped taking off the mask. We got I don't know if we got lackadaisical, or we start building up our immunities after we got all these vaccines. That's what I wanted to ask. Robert, are you there? Can you even hear me? Because that, what we're gonna do, we're gonna table that conversation for the next time we get the opportunity to talk, because there's just so much information and so much misinformation. And what I would like to do with Robert and with you is let you know that there are other choices that you can make. There are smarter decisions that you can make for yourself and for your family. And remember, don't put yourself on the back burner. I got two mottos. If mother ain't happy, ain't nobody gonna be happy. My other mantra, self-preservation is the first law of nature. If I don't take care of me and do the best I can with me, and I got chinks in my armor, man, sometimes I got to go take it to the blacksmith so he can knock the chinks out. You know how they knock all the chinks out your armor and everything? Mine has been dented up. I have been through the gauntlet. And as long as we're living, things are going to happen. Mistakes are going to happen. We're going to not make really, the right decision all the time. We're human. We're going to make mistakes. We're going to still want to have comfort food. Just watch the peanut butter and watch the milk. And remember, he said whole milk is better for you than skim milk and 2% milk, because that puts 300% more insulin in your body. And as a person who's managing diabetes, that's the one thing you do not want to have happen. You do not want your blood sugar being elevated. You want to get your A1C down to, they're saying under 7. See, my doctors first told me they wanted to get it under 6, closer to 5 and 6. And the lowest I've ever gotten since I've got diagnosed many years ago, the lowest my A1C was I went in for one of my 3-month checkups, and it was 4.9. And I was like, wait a minute, can my insulin be too low? 4.1. She said that people that don't have diabetes, their blood sugar levels will be like 4 point something, 5 point something, And for me to be able to get mine down to in that 5 range, I can go from 5.0. Don't get me wrong, to 5.8. When it start getting, inching up, I know I got to start, making some smarter, better choices. And one of the things that I have learned, because like I said, diabetes affects everything from your hair to your toenails, your eyes, your everything, your kidneys, your bones, your skin, your feet, and one of the things I'm dealing with now, and I'm pretty good. I'm doing pretty good with it. I didn't do so well with the sciatica. And I didn't realize how many people, especially people who are have a high BMI, body mass index. And, I see a lot of people on walkers and on canes, and most of them are dealing with sciatica and or neuropathy, peripheral neuropathy in their feet. And it's hard to get up and exercise because your feet are hurting all the time. Your back is hurting all the time. We got to realize, remember the song, the hand bone connected to the neck bone, and neck bone connected to all the other bones, and all the bones we're all connected. All your body parts are connected. You can't ignore your physical health any more than you ought to ignore shouldn't ignore your emotional health and your spiritual health. All of these work in tandem, because you're not a compartmentalized person. We are whole people, and we need to treat each other in that wholeness. We need to meet each other where we are. Hopefully we will, be able to manage ourselves better. And it's always good to have a coach. It's always good to have a coach. It's always good to have somebody like Robert Ferguson in your corner. Even though we having all these technical difficulties, I'm hoping that you will get and have gotten and will continue to get, when you're going to the website, when you follow us on social media, on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, all of those, Restream, on all of those. And go to Robert's website, Diet Free for Life, and get this information. He's got great information up there about food for medicine, about becoming a coach if you want to become a coach in the Diet Free for Life. I mean, he's got some awesome testimonials from people who are clients of his and who have gone through his coaching program. So it might be something interesting to look at it. I want you to have the information so that you are in a better position to make a better decision for you, your family, and even pass along to your friends and your loved ones. I am Mother Love. Know that I love you. And remember this, it doesn't matter how big or tall, short or small, thick or thin, it matters what you're in. Everybody needs some Mother Love now and then. Thank you, Mr. Ferguson. We'll have to do this again. Peace, my people. Loving you more.